throwing things on the field, booing, very frustrated. What's your message to them about today's game?
I understand their frustration. Guys in the locker room are just as frustrated, if not more, but college football has changed. And we have an opportunity moving forward to right some wrongs from today. And that's what we're going to focus on. I get it. We get an unbelievable crowd here. We get unbelievable support. You don't do that without passion. And there's great things that come from that, and there's hard things that come from that. That's part of the job. That's part of the job, and I own it all. I own it all.
Tyler, and then Adam.
James, you mentioned in the last week that Bo Perbula out there can open things up for the running backs today. Katron and Nick seem to have trouble finding that daylight today. Bo had one carry for no yards. Hindsight being what it is, do you think maybe there was an opportunity to get Bo more involved to find that jolt?
Well, I think the plan was to get Bo more involved based on how practice had gone this week with Drew, but we didn't have a whole lot of success when he was in there. So I think that probably played in a part of it. When we didn't have a whole lot of success when he was in there, we got away from it.
Where are you? Adam and then Mason.
James, you can't control the outside, but as far as yourself and evaluating yourself in these big game performances, how do you do that? What significance do you put on a game like today?
Yeah, again, there's nobody that's looking in the mirror harder than I am. I will say this, and I've said it before, 99% of the programs across college football would die to do what we've been able to do in our time here, and that's all of us. But I also understand when you're at a place like Penn State, there's really, really high expectations. When you're at a place like Ohio State, there's really, really high expectations. I get it. I totally get it. So we've looked at all these things really hard. We'll continue to look at these things really hard. There's a lot of things that I had planned on saying when I came in here today, but they are not appropriate to say right now. So I'll hold them till another time.
Mason, then Joe.
Hey, Coach, over here. With Abdul Carter's play today, obviously 2 sacks, but also, like you said, the offsides play. What was it like kind of watching him knowing that he could also do great things, but also kind of hurt you in some ways with penalties and other poor plays?
Well, right now in this setting, I'm going to focus on the positive things he does, and he's an impactful player. We'll make the corrections, in the locker room, and we'll make the corrections in the meeting room. But he's a big-time player. He makes big-time plays consistently. There's things that we got to get cleaned up with all of them, Abdul included.
Last question to Joe.
James, the sequence at the end over here on the side.
Sorry.
At the end of the first half, getting at the 1st and goal and the free, and then that play in the corner that ended up being an interception. What went into that play call, and what did you see from that play?
What did I see on the play that they overturned to an interception?
Yes.
Drew made a nice throw. We had a chance to come down with the ball. They called it as an incomplete at first. Then they reviewed it, called it as an INT. The guys that are watching it on TV got a better idea of how that whole thing played out. There was a ton of 50-50 calls in this game that you could call in either direction. There was a ton of them in this game. The fumble on the sideline in the near arm that goes out at the 2-yard line, obviously, and is called a touchdown. There's a ton of calls, 50-50 calls that could go either way. And in that type of game, they're critical. They're critical. Besides that, I don't have a whole lot more for you. But, obviously turning the ball over in the red zone and getting stopped on downs, 2 turnovers inside the 5, that's really the story of the game.